Meghan Markle just dropped her so-called holiday celebration on Netflix, and within hours the internet has torn it apart piece by piece. What was supposed to be a heartwarming festive special has instead become the most humiliating exposure of her carefully constructed facade yet. The evidence is damning, the reviews are brutal, and insiders are calling this the final nail in the coffin of her television career. Here is the bombshell that changes everything. Eagle-eyed viewers spotted something that Meghan clearly hoped nobody would notice. Her beloved beagle guy, the rescue dog she tearfully announced had died back in January, appears alive and well padding through the kitchen in multiple scenes. That single detail has unraveled the entire illusion. This supposedly fresh holiday content was filmed almost a year ago, dressed up with a few Christmas decorations, and sold to audiences as something new. Netflix insiders are not even trying to hide what this means. Sources close to the streaming giant have reportedly called this special the closing credits of Meghan's career. One executive allegedly described it as a farewell disguised as a holiday treat. The message could not be clearer. No new cameras have rolled for Meghan Markle. The content tap has been switched off, and what viewers are watching is nothing more than recycled leftovers from footage shot during the spring and summer of 2024. The reception has been absolutely catastrophic. Critics across every major outlet have savaged the 56-minute special with reviews so scathing they read like parody. Multiple publications awarded it 0 stars. Others described it as mad, sad, and self-indulgent. One reviewer admitted they felt both offended and harmed by the experience. Another confessed to saying a prayer before watching, begging for the strength to endure what was to come. But perhaps the most telling sign of Meghan's downfall came from Netflix itself. The streaming platform that once handed her and Harry a reported $100 million deal could not even be bothered to promote her special. Viewers reported having to actively search for the show because it was nowhere to be found on the homepage. It was not featured in the trending section. It was not highlighted in the holiday category. Netflix essentially buried it, leaving Meghan's grand festive moment to languish in algorithmic obscurity. The contrast with her competition could not be more stark. Kim Kardashian dropped her own holiday content on the exact same day, and industry watchers believe that timing was no accident. When you have become so irrelevant that even reality television rivals are deliberately scheduling against you to steal your spotlight, you know your star has fallen further than you ever imagined possible. This is not just a bad review cycle that will blow over. This is an extinction-level event for Meghan's entertainment ambitions. Everything she has built since leaving the royal family is crumbling around her, and the holiday special that was supposed to cement her lifestyle brand has instead exposed just how hollow the entire operation has become. But the fake footage is only the beginning of this scandal. The deception runs even deeper than recycled footage. Every single frame of Meghan's holiday special was filmed in a house that does not belong to her. The woman who lectures viewers about authenticity, about creating meaningful traditions, about the importance of home and hearth, has been cooking in a rented kitchen this entire time. The facade has been stripped away and what remains is nothing but smoke and mirrors. The truth came out months ago when it was revealed that Meghan chose to film her entire Netflix series at an $8 million farmhouse owned by her Montecito neighbors. The property belongs to local philanthropists, who apparently had no problem lending their stunning estate to the Duchess of Sussex for her television vanity project. Every carefully arranged countertop, every gleaming pot, every artfully placed ingredient exists in someone else's home. The kitchen where Meghan pretends to whip up family recipes is not where she actually cooks for her children. It is a stage set designed to sell an illusion. When confronted about this decision, Meghan offered an explanation that only made things worse. She claimed she wanted to protect the safe haven she has built with Harry for their children. She insisted that having 80 people trampling through her actual home would disrupt the sacred family moments she treasures so deeply. On the surface, that sounds almost reasonable. But think about it for more than 2 seconds and the logic completely falls apart. If your entire brand is built on showing people your authentic life, your real traditions, your genuine approach to homemaking, then filming in a fake location destroys the entire premise. You cannot simultaneously claim to be inviting viewers into your world while literally barring them from entering your actual house. The hypocrisy is staggering, and audiences have noticed. Critics have hammered her for creating something that feels totally fake and manufactured from start to finish. The rented farmhouse sits on 5 acres of avocado and lemon groves. It features 4 bedrooms, 4.5 bathrooms, and the kind of high-end kitchen design that most people could never afford. Caesar stone countertops, premium cookware, black walnut cutting boards priced at $75 each. This is not relatable content for ordinary families struggling with grocery bills and heating costs. This is aspirational fantasy dressed up as down-to-earth domesticity. Industry observers have pointed out that lifestyle programming only works when audiences feel a genuine connection to the host. Martha Stewart built an empire because people believed she actually lived the life she portrayed on screen. Meghan has done the opposite. She has constructed an elaborate theatrical production and asked viewers to pretend it is real. The result is a show that feels hollow, performative, and completely disconnected from anything resembling authentic human experience. The fake kitchen is just one layer of the deception, but when you start pulling at that thread, the entire carefully constructed narrative begins to unravel. And nothing unravels faster than Meghan's claims about family values. This is where Meghan's holiday special crosses from cringeworthy into genuinely disturbing territory. Throughout the entire episode, she waxes poetic about the importance of family traditions. She talks about how Christmas trees allow you to encapsulate your family story. She creates advent calendars filled with loving messages for her children. She makes personalized crackers for her loved ones. Family, family, family. The word drips from every carefully scripted moment. But here is what makes it all so sickeningly hypocritical. While Meghan was filming this tribute to family togetherness, her own father, Thomas Markle, was desperately hoping to hear from his daughter. He has spent years publicly begging just to meet his grandchildren. Archie and Lilibet have never laid eyes on their maternal grandfather. Not once, not ever. The man who raised Meghan, who paid for her private school education, who helped launch her acting career, has been completely erased from her life. And now, as her holiday special debuts to the world, Thomas Markle lies in intensive care in the Philippines fighting for his life. The 81-year-old was rushed to hospital this week after a serious medical emergency. He underwent 3 hours of emergency surgery and now faces additional procedures to remove blood clots. His son Thomas Jr. has issued a heartbreaking plea to his sister. He asked that on a week when Meghan released a television show talking about the power of love and family, she might finally reach out to their father. He begged her to show the compassion she constantly preaches about. The response from Meghan has been deafening silence. Think about the timing here. Meghan drops a special celebrating family traditions while her father clings to life thousands of miles away, having never met the grandchildren she talks about so adoringly on screen. She decorates a Christmas tree and speaks about honoring your family history, while the man who shaped her entire childhood remains cut off and alone. The disconnect is not just tone-deaf, it is genuinely cruel. Critics have seized on this contradiction with savage precision. Commentators point out that Meghan claims to care deeply about people, yet she cannot extend basic human decency to her own flesh and blood. Her father has publicly stated that he would be happy with just a photograph of Archie and Lilibet at this stage. That is how low his expectations have fallen. A single picture, and even that modest wish remains unfulfilled. The estrangement extends beyond her father. Meghan has cut ties with virtually her entire paternal family. Meanwhile, she has also ensured that her children rarely see their royal relatives. King Charles has reportedly only seen his grandchildren a handful of times since they moved to California. The man who walked Meghan down the aisle when her own father could not attend now barely knows his youngest grandchildren. Family means everything to Meghan Markle, apparently. Unless that family happens to share her DNA or her husband's bloodline, then they become disposable. Prince Harry finally makes his appearance in the holiday special, and it is every bit as uncomfortable as you would expect. The once beloved royal shows up for roughly 5 minutes at the very end of the episode, looking for all the world like a man fulfilling a contractual obligation rather than a husband genuinely excited to support his wife. The body language tells a story that Meghan's carefully crafted script cannot hide. Sources claim that Netflix essentially demanded Harry's presence to salvage the struggling production. The streaming executives reportedly knew that 50 minutes of Meghan making crafts and cooking in a fake kitchen would not generate nearly enough interest on its own. They needed the royal connection, the ginger prince who fled the kingdom, to give audiences any reason to tune in. So Harry dutifully appeared, and the awkwardness was palpable from the moment he walked through the door. Watch the footage closely and you will notice something deeply strange. When Harry enters the kitchen, Meghan does not greet him like a wife welcoming her husband home. Instead, she thanks him for coming to his own home. Except of course it is not his home at all, which perhaps explains the bizarre formality. The whole exchange has the energy of colleagues meeting at a work function, rather than a married couple sharing an intimate family moment. The dynamic between them reveals something troubling about the state of their relationship. Meghan mothers Harry throughout his brief appearance. She fusses over him, noting that he will need a towel because the spicy food makes him sweat. She speaks about him to the camera as if he were a child rather than her partner. At one point, she announces that her mother makes certain dishes for Harry without the fish because he does not like it. The infantilization is constant and uncomfortable to witness. Harry's most memorable moment comes when he is confronted with a salad made entirely of ingredients he apparently hates: beets, black olives, fennel, anchovies, and pickled vegetables. His eyes widen and he describes it as the anti-salad. For a brief second, you see a flash of the old Harry, the charming prince with the quick wit, but it disappears just as quickly, replaced by the subdued, diminished figure we have grown accustomed to seeing. Royal watchers have noted that Harry looks noticeably different from his glory days. The lighting in the special does him no favors, accentuating his thinning hair and tired appearance. Some have suggested that Netflix deliberately used unflattering angles, a subtle message about how the streaming giant truly views their former golden couple. Whether intentional or not, the contrast between the vibrant young royal who once captured hearts worldwide and the man shuffling through his wife's cooking show is stark and somewhat sad. Harry came, he tasted gumbo, he fulfilled his minimal obligations, but his presence only highlighted how far both of them have fallen. Nothing exposes the fraudulent nature of this holiday special, quite like the ghost padding through the kitchen. Guy, Meghan's beloved rescue beagle, appears multiple times throughout the episode. He wanders past her feet while she cooks brunch. He lingers in the background as she prepares food for her friends. The only problem is that Guy died almost a year ago. Meghan herself announced his passing in January with a tearful Instagram tribute. So what is a dead dog doing in a supposedly fresh holiday celebration filmed for the festive season? The answer is simple and devastating. This special is not new content at all. Netflix has been stretching footage filmed during the spring and summer of 2024, slapping some Christmas decorations on it, and presenting it as if cameras only recently stopped rolling. Guy's appearance is the smoking gun that proves the entire production is recycled material dressed up to look current. The streaming giant apparently hoped nobody would notice. They were wrong. Viewers immediately seized on the continuity error, and the implications spread across social media like wildfire. One commenter pointed out that the footage was so old it was filmed when America had a different president. Another noted that Meghan's holiday show featuring her dead dog confirms everything critics have suspected about the state of her Netflix deal. The content pipeline has run completely dry. There is nothing new coming. What audiences are watching represents the absolute last scraps of usable material from a production that wrapped up long ago. Industry insiders have suggested that Netflix left Guy's appearance in deliberately. The streaming giant does not make mistakes of this kind accidentally. They permitted it because they wanted the message to be clear. No new money has been spent on Meghan Markle. No fresh cameras have rolled. The company that once invested $100 million in the Sussexes has effectively pulled the plug, and Guy's ghostly cameo is their way of signaling that reality to anyone paying attention. The revelation reframes everything about the special. Those supposedly timely holiday tips and festive traditions were actually filmed months before anyone was thinking about Christmas. The intimate family moments Meghan shares were captured during a production schedule designed to squeeze maximum content from minimum investment. Even the celebrity guests who appear throughout the episode were booked as part of the original filming block, not specially arranged for a holiday celebration. Meghan tried to get ahead of the situation by acknowledging in an earlier Instagram post that Guy would appear in her Netflix series. She wrote about hoping viewers would understand her devastation at losing him, but that preemptive damage control cannot change the fundamental deception at play. A holiday special should feel current, connected to the moment, relevant to the season. Instead, audiences received warmed-over leftovers from a production that Netflix has clearly abandoned. The dead dog walking through the frame tells us everything about where Meghan's career stands, and the critics have not been shy about delivering their verdict. The reviews have landed, and they are absolutely brutal. Critics across every major publication have torn Meghan's holiday special to shreds with the kind of savagery usually reserved for genuine disasters. 0 stars, 1 star, 2 stars at most generous. The consensus is overwhelming and unforgiving, with Love Meghan holiday celebration as being called one of the worst pieces of festive programming in recent memory. One reviewer described the experience as feeling both offended and harmed after watching. They added a star to their rating purely out of gratitude that the ordeal was finally over and audiences would be safe until next year. Another critic admitted to saying a literal prayer before pressing play, begging for strength to endure what was coming. The same writer noted that struggling through the 56 minutes felt like a test of faith that no amount of Christmas spirit could salvage. The Telegraph called the special unfathomable and highlighted how Meghan spends the runtime explaining painfully obvious concepts to viewers. She tells audiences that advent calendars involve having a surprise every day for 24 days until Christmas. She announces that once a year you get to do the tree thing. The condescension drips from every frame, as if Meghan believes her audience has never experienced a holiday season before and needs basic concepts explained like children. Perhaps the most cutting comparison came from a reviewer who noted that Meghan's advice is reminiscent of Pippa Middleton's infamous book Celebrate. That publication became a punchline for recommending things like serving turkey on Christmas Day and stargazing at night because that is when it gets dark. Meghan has apparently achieved the same level of stating the blindingly obvious while expecting applause for her insights. The Daily Mail awarded the special 0 stars and zeroed in on what they called syrupy hypocrisy and a deep lack of self-awareness. The reviewer suggested that Meghan might actually be endearing if she could lean into her intense personality and poke a little fun at herself. Instead, she presents everything with deadly seriousness, demanding that viewers treat her craft projects and cooking tips as profound wisdom rather than basic lifestyle content. British Vogue offered a slightly more measured take, but still acknowledged why the show was critically panned. The reviewer noted that Meghan comes across as trying desperately hard to project perfection rather than allowing any genuine human moments to break through. Everything feels rehearsed, polished, and utterly devoid of the spontaneity that makes lifestyle programming actually watchable. The Standard described the special as having frantic energy, with Meghan constantly trying to crack jokes while avoiding splashing hot oil on her pristine cashmere sweaters. The overall effect is exhausting rather than entertaining. Viewers are not invited into a warm holiday celebration. They are subjected to a performance that never lets its guard down for even a moment. The critics have spoken with remarkable unity, but their words only scratch the surface of what went wrong behind the scenes. The celebrity guests who appear throughout Meghan's holiday special were supposed to add star power and credibility to the production. Instead, they exposed just how shallow her social circle truly is. One awkward interaction after another reveals that these people are not genuine friends sharing cherished traditions. They are industry acquaintances fulfilling obligations, pushed by their agents to appear on camera for Netflix exposure. The fakeness is impossible to ignore. The most cringeworthy moment comes when tennis star Naomi Osaka arrives at the fake farmhouse. Meghan introduces her as a new friend, which immediately raises the question of why someone you barely know is appearing on your intimate holiday celebration. The exchange that follows is painfully stilted. Meghan serves Osaka a crudite platter made of raw green vegetables arranged to look like a Christmas wreath. The tennis champion looks understandably confused at being handed what amounts to uncooked broccoli as a festive treat. Things only get worse from there. During their conversation, Osaka mentions that she designs all of her own outfits for Nike. Meghan appears genuinely surprised, responding with an awkward admission that she did not know Osaka was interested in fashion. The tennis star has been internationally recognized for her daring and innovative athletic wear designs. The fact that Meghan clearly did not bother to research her guest before filming speaks volumes about the depth of their supposed friendship. The embarrassment continues when Meghan attempts to pronounce the name of Osaka's daughter and stumbles over it completely. She could not even get the basic details right about a woman she invited onto her show. Observers noted that there was a coldness between the two women throughout the segment. Osaka gave mostly one-word replies and appeared visibly uncomfortable on camera. Sources have suggested she was there primarily to promote her Nike line rather than out of any genuine affection for the host. The other guests fare little better. Restaurateur Will Guidara arrives and seems astonished to learn about Christmas crackers, a tradition Meghan presents as if she personally invented it. Her longtime friends Kelly Zodgfin and Lindsay Roth show up in matching red pajamas, but even their interactions feel forced and performative. Critics have described them as enablers who exist primarily to tell Meghan how wonderful and brilliant she is at every opportunity. There is a particular type of fakeness that permeates every social interaction in this special. Real friendships involve teasing, inside jokes, comfortable silences, and genuine moments of connection. Nothing in Meghan's holiday celebration resembles actual human relationships. Every exchange feels scripted, every compliment feels rehearsed, and every guest looks like they are counting down the minutes until they can leave. Industry insiders have suggested that Meghan struggles to attract genuine A-list talent to her productions. The celebrities who do appear are largely unknown to British audiences or are there purely for transactional reasons. The parade of fake friends only reinforces how isolated the Duchess has become. Of all the traditions Meghan could have carried with her from her time in the royal family, she chose Christmas crackers. That is it. That is the singular remnant of her brief period as a working royal that she deemed worthy of preserving. The woman who walked away from Sandringham, from the Queen, from centuries of history and tradition, now sits in a rented California kitchen making craft store crackers and acting as if this represents some profound connection to her former life. During the special, Meghan explains the tradition of Christmas crackers to her American guests with the enthusiasm of someone who has discovered fire. She demonstrates how people cross arms and pull them together. She describes the little jokes and trinkets found inside as if revealing ancient secrets. The whole segment drips with the desperate energy of someone trying to monetize the last shreds of royal association she possesses. Think about what Meghan actually gave up. She experienced Christmas at Sandringham, one of the most magical royal traditions in the world. She walked alongside the Queen, Prince Philip, Charles, William, and Kate to the church service that millions watch every year. She was part of something historic, something meaningful, something that connected her to generations of tradition and public service. And she threw it all away for a McMansion in Montecito and a cooking show that nobody watches. The royals do Christmas properly. The decorations, the formal dinners, the exchange of gag gifts, the walks through the Norfolk estate, the genuine sense of family togetherness that comes from generations gathering in the same beloved location. Meghan tasted that world briefly before deciding it was not good enough for her. Now she sits alone in someone else's kitchen, making crackers for children who will never know their British relatives, pretending pretending that this constitutes a meaningful holiday tradition. Sources close to the royal family have noted the painful irony of Meghan preaching about family traditions while ensuring her children remain strangers to their grandfather, the king. Archie and Lilibet have reportedly only seen Charles a handful of times since the Sussexes relocated to California. The cousins they should be growing up alongside, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, are essentially unknown to them. Meghan has created exactly the isolated, disconnected family unit she claims to be fighting against. The Christmas cracker segment also reveals something telling about how Meghan views her royal experience. She does not speak warmly about the people she met or the relationships she formed. She reduces the entire experience to a party favor, a craft project, something she can replicate in her fake kitchen without any of the genuine human connection that made those traditions meaningful in the first place. She left behind a palace and gained a rented farmhouse. She abandoned a family and gained celebrity acquaintances. She rejected centuries of tradition and kept only Christmas crackers. The trade speaks for itself. Actions speak louder than words, and Netflix's actions regarding Meghan's holiday special have been absolutely deafening. The streaming giant that once courted the Sussexes with a reported $100 million deal has made their current feelings unmistakably clear. They buried this special so deeply that viewers needed a search party to find it. The message could not be more obvious. Netflix is done with Meghan Markle. When the holiday celebration dropped on December 3rd, subscribers expecting to see it prominently featured on their homepage were left confused. The special was not in the trending section. It was not highlighted among new releases. It was not promoted in the holiday category where it logically belonged. Users reported scrolling endlessly through recommendations without encountering it once. The only way to actually find Meghan's content was to manually type her name into the search bar. For a platform that lives and dies by algorithmic promotion, this level of burial is essentially a death sentence. The contrast with how Netflix treats content they actually believe in could not be more stark. When the streaming giant released their documentary about Diddy on the same day, that production received prominent placement and heavy promotion. Meghan's special was left to compete for scraps of attention, while Netflix actively pushed viewers toward other content. The prioritization tells you everything about how the company values their Sussex investment at this point. Industry insiders have been remarkably candid about what is happening behind closed doors. Sources told entertainment reporters that Netflix executives are privately calling this special the closing credits of Meghan's television career. One insider allegedly described it as a farewell disguised as a holiday treat. The streaming giant has apparently accepted that their massive bet on the Sussexes has failed to pay off, and they are now simply burning through remaining contractual obligations with minimal additional investment. The numbers tell the damning story. When the first season of With Love Meghan launched earlier this year, it ranked number 383 on Netflix's engagement report with just 5.3 million views. Compare that to actual hits like Adolescence, which generated 145 million views, and the scale of Meghan's underperformance becomes painfully clear. She is not even in the same universe as Netflix's successful content. The downgraded deal speaks volumes as well. The Sussexes went from a massive upfront production agreement to a watered-down first-look arrangement. This means Netflix no longer commits money to their projects in advance. Instead, Meghan and Harry must pitch ideas that the streaming giant can simply reject if they choose. The power dynamic has completely reversed. They went from being courted stars to being supplicants hoping for approval. Netflix has sent their message through strategic silence, algorithmic burial, and contractual downgrades. They have washed their hands of the Sussex experiment without needing to make a single public statement. The platform that was supposed to launch Meghan's entertainment empire has instead become the graveyard where her ambitions went to die. The evidence has been laid bare for all to see. Meghan Markle's holiday special was not a celebration of festive traditions. It was an autopsy of a failed career dressed up with Christmas decorations and served to an audience that has long since stopped caring. Every element of this production screams desperation. From the recycled footage to the fake kitchen to the awkward celebrity cameos, the Duchess of Sussex has reached the end of the road, and the view from here is nothing but wreckage. Consider the trajectory we have witnessed over the past 5 years. Meghan went from being a member of the most famous family on earth to hosting a cooking show that cannot crack Netflix's top 10. She traded Kensington Palace for a rented farmhouse. She exchanged genuine royal duties for craft projects and crowdy-type platters. She abandoned relationships with actual family members to surround herself with industry acquaintances who cannot even pronounce her children's cousins' names. The fall from grace is almost too dramatic to comprehend. What happens next remains uncertain, but the options are dwindling rapidly. Netflix has made their position clear through action rather than words. The streaming giant is not investing new money in Meghan content. They are simply extracting whatever value remains from footage shot over a year ago. When that well runs dry, and it appears to be running dry already, there will be nothing left to squeeze. Sources suggest Meghan may pivot toward other ventures. Her lifestyle brand, as ever, continues to push products ranging from fruit spreads to sparkling wine. But even that enterprise faces questions about viability when the celebrity endorsement behind it carries such toxic associations. Who wants jam from a woman who will not speak to her own father? Who aspires to holiday traditions created by someone whose family lies shattered across multiple continents? The royal family, meanwhile, continues without her. While Meghan was dropping her universally panned special, King Charles and Queen Camilla were hosting the German state visit at Windsor Castle. The Princess of Wales released a heartfelt letter about her upcoming carol concert. The working royals demonstrated what genuine public service looks like while Meghan pretended to make Christmas crackers in someone else's house. The contrast could not be more pointed. Perhaps the most damning indictment comes from Meghan's own brother, who pleaded with her to show compassion to their dying father. On a week when she released a television show about the power of love and family, she could not find it within herself to reach out to the man who raised her. That hypocrisy encapsulates everything wrong with the Meghan Markle brand. All performance, no substance. All preaching, no practice. The holiday special was supposed to cement her status as a lifestyle icon. Instead, it has confirmed what critics have said all along. The Empress has no clothes, the kitchen is not hers, and the traditions are as fake as the friendships on display. Drop your thoughts below, like, subscribe, and stay tuned because the next video is waiting, and you will not believe what is coming next.